The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Happiness Jungle with yours truly, the Chief Happiness Officer, Lyn-Dee Eldridge. And today I am so happy to bring with you Susan Fitzell. I love how you say your name.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it makes me like have chutzpah.
Oh, my father-in-law would be thrilled.
Wouldn't he be thrilled? It just gives me that zust. Yeah, I like that. And today I am just so excited. How do you work with special needs? You are an angel beyond angels. You get to help people in so many different ways, and not only during the day, but at night in a very soothing manner. You belong to the educational industry. They have adopted you in many, many years ago because you bring such inspirational solutions.
Well, thank you.
I adore you. We met through a very special lady.
Yes, we did.
Debbie Brigham's story.
Yep.
Who is just an angel.
Yep. She sure is.
Isn't she? Mm-hmm. We met for lunch. It took a year for that to happen.
Yeah, it did.
And
my crazy schedule.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I wasn't available. I was in Florida and whatever. But then it happened. And then the magic is now still happening.
That's
and
right.
now you're a part of our show.
Well, thank you. Appreciate being here.
I am excited, so excited. And the reason being is because the Happiness Jungle show is all about how people that are watching our show, our audience, our viewers, how they could be inspired to change their lives and do something differently because they heard from Susan.
Well, thank you.
So you are about to really inspire a lot of people because my show is all about interaction.
All righty.
All right? So it has to be a plan of action that's going to teach everybody in our audience that, oh, yes, they can do something about what the topic is today.
That's correct.
So hello, Susan.
Hello.
Hi. Share with the world, what are you all about and how are you making such a powerful impact with those with special needs and the education? I'm ready.
I am, what am I all about? I'm about helping people, whether they be young children, teenagers, young adults, or people who have been working most of their lives in various professions, helping them to meet their potential. And to help others who work or teach those who maybe think differently to reach their potential. Because in my world, I've seen so many people underestimated because they are let's say a round peg that doesn't fit in the square hole.
Okay.
And consequently, sometimes they're put into positions where someone else may decide for that child or that teenager or that adult, well, you can only do this much. So we're going to put you here when they may have these great talents that are unseen by our traditional way of viewing the world or viewing school or viewing work, that it then doesn't allow people to be able to show what they really know, what they really can do, their area of expertise, and then everybody loses. Absolutely everybody loses because a talent is missed. A talent doesn't get to grow. A talent isn't out there. And this is something that's, I'm grateful that not only is this a message in school now, it's becoming a message in the workplace.
Because we realize that there are people that place limitations on us,
That's correct.
So you help people say, wait a second, that limitation was placed on me. I don't want to own that anymore. Hey, Susan, how do I get that monkey off my shoulder?
That's right. Whether it's a limitation or even just a misunderstanding. So one of the things I'm thrilled about now, because I've been working with education for so many years, and there's much out there about how to help students be successful in the classroom when they're different thinkers. When they look at the world differently, whether they be creatives, whether they be artists, maybe they don't read well, but they're brilliant in math, maybe they're in the spectrum, but they are uncannily intuitive as far as numbers go, or even certain things in science and so on and so forth. Now we're seeing that become more of a focus point in industry. It's starting small, but it's exciting. Richard Branson is shedding a light on dyslexia in the workplace. There's a small group at Microsoft that's looking at that piece. It's the man that I'm familiar with that's done the work is Stu Shader, and he has taken this topic of how people with dyslexia or Asperger's, now it's in the spectrum, work in industry, and how can we work with them so that they can be successful. There's a book written by Steve Silberman called Neurotribes, which talks about people in the spectrum and what their lives are like and how that really impacts their success, their relationships, but also what it's like in the workplace for them. And that's exciting to me because, we take kids from, preschool and we get them through to 12th grade, and then they go into college, and they might, if they're successful there, then they go into the workplace. Many of them can't even get through the interview process because maybe they're very shy or introverted. So they have this brilliant talent, but because they don't interview the way people expect someone to interview, they may not get a job. So it's all about not just limitations, but expectations and understanding and flexibility. So limitations, expectations, and understanding and flexibility. Because if we can be flexible with with students in what they're required to do to show what they know, or in workers in order to use their talents in the workplace, it's amazing what we can achieve.
Incredible. And I don't know if you realize this, but I am dyslexic. And when I was growing up in the 60s, that was called stupid.
Oh, and for many kids, they still feel that way today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
So I understand exactly what you say when you say, oh my gosh, now what?
Right.
And we feel, and there you are. Where were you when I was growing up?
I was probably in school right
You
next
were.
door to you.
You were. You were.
We were probably students together at about the same time. I think so.
I wish that that's so true.
We're both young, spring chickens,
I like that. And I'm going to share with everybody that dyslexia doesn't hold you back.
No, it doesn't. It
gave me moxie. It gave me strength. It gave me chutzpah to say, wait a second, there's got to be a way around this. Whether it was taking my book and turning it upside down so the words didn't blot off, whether it was being more hands-on, teach me. I'm a very hands-on person, and I am, and that's what you bring out in people.
It's what I try to do.
Yeah. No, you don't try. I know that you do. I'm a big follower of yours.
Oh, all right.
I'm one of
you.
your biggest fans. So you don't try. There's no such word in your vocabulary as try, as I'm watching people do. You have a voluntary army.
Yeah, I do.
And you're not trying. You're delivering. Whether they're doing the activity, well, that's not your responsibility. You can't take ownership of that. But what you do take ownership of are the lives that change, that hear you. Yeah.
And many do.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So you got to get you can't own the word try anymore.
All right. Well, me and Yoda, I got to get together. No, there is no try. There's just two.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. That is so true.
There's a place for Yoda here. Right.
That's crazy because a lot of people think that I'm her. Like if I am walking in Boston or New York, I get stopped for her autograph. So obviously we must meet. Just saying. Kathy Lee, if you ever need to take a break,
there you go.
I can
there
sit
you
in
go.
for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it
that's
is.
crazy. So what do you find the most effective steps that our audience that are sitting at the couch going, oh my God, I'm dyslexic. What are you talking about? What can I do?
I think the most important thing that we can do for ourselves is discover how we learn. And there's many ways to go about doing that.
Right.
And honor that. So often, especially in the early years in school, kids go to school and they have a teacher that teaches them XYZ. And teacher teaches XYZ a certain way. And most often, research has shown that teachers teach in the way they learn, or sometimes in the way they were taught, like what they've been exposed to all their lives. If that's the case, and there's multiple different learning styles, if a teacher teaches in the way they learn, then anybody in this classroom who learns differently doesn't necessarily learn the way the teacher learns, so they may miss it. They may miss the boat. And schools are typically very verbal, like a lot of text, a lot of reading, a lot of writing, which for somebody with dyslexia is a struggle.
It's a big challenge.
Exactly. So what happens when kids are small is they fight their own ideas of how to learn something to do it the way the teacher wants it.
Right.
And what I coach teachers to do is allow students to explore different ways of learning. And then I coach students when I have the chance to do so. And I've done that. My daughter and I actually wrote a book together about how to do that with students. It's called Studying What's That?
Right.
Right? And it's a book about finding out how do you learn? What's your best way? And then honor the way that you learn. So, for instance, my son has dyslexia. And he could have been very limited in school based on that. But he figured out that he learned really well with peer tutoring. When he got to college and engineering school, he figured out that he could learn very well through videos. So if he didn't understand it in the classroom, he could then go online and find the videos on the same topic, and he would learn from the videos. So he would say, Mom, I just go to class to look good. I said, look, yeah, they check me off, they know I'm there. After that, I just learned from my own. He says, I don't learn from the teacher. Well, he did from some, but he learned from the teachers who were hands-on. And with that and the things that I tried to expose him to through his life, he figured out how he learned, and he's very successful as a mechanical engineer.
Right.
But many students like him, and he's a young man now working at Ford,
right.
As a design engineer, many students like him don't ever get there because there's no one to help them realize you don't have to do it this way. There's this way, this way, this way, or this way to learn.
There are other tools in the world, like for me, I thrive on personal development and filling myself, but to sit and read a book, not happening. Audio, perfect.
Audio, or for me, visual, audio
Love
in the car.
visual.
I've got to see it. An interesting thing happened on Friday. I was presenting in Chicago, Illinois, and I had an audience that was trying to explain to me that they've renamed what they call paraprofessionals in the classroom. And they said, they're SECAs, and I just could, SECAs? S-E? Never heard that before.
Right.
So finally, someone took a Post-it note and wrote it out, S-E-C-A, and then they told me what the acronym meant. It was once I saw it on the Post-it note that it gelled for me.
Right.
Because I'm visual. And I think, I can't even tell you how much time I probably wasted in school when I was young, not learning as quickly as I could have if I had known then and understood that I was a visual learner. Once I figured out how I learned, and I started to do that in college, once I figured that out, then learning was 10 times easier for me. 10 times easier. And now, and the other thing that I think is important is for people to advocate for themselves. This isn't the way I need it a different way.
Right.
If someone says, here, directions to do blah, 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 and they try to tell me, I'll tell you right now, it'll be one in one ear and out the other. Could you please write it down or allow me to draw a picture of what you're saying?
Right.
Or I'll draw a flow chart or a diagram while someone's talking. Because if you just tell me, it's gone.
Right.
It's gone because that's not how I learn. And that's what I'd love to be able to get out to people who are maybe struggling at work, struggling with how to learn their job, just as much as people and students who are struggling in school.
Yes.
Because, if you're struggling in school as a first grader, a fifth grader, or a 10th grader, there are going to be times probably in the workplace that you're going to run into that too if there's any kind of professional development involved.
I like that. And there are parents out there there are people out there that now understand that there's help, and maybe you just created that eye-opener like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't think about that.
Oh, yeah.
If my child is doing so poorly or not up to par in their class or in their activity, maybe it's because I'm not allowing them to do it their way.
Right.
Who's to say, why are we so thumbs down, it's either my way or the highway?
Right.
What's up with that?
There's a lot of tradition in our education about teaching that way. And the other thing that has happened, to be fair, in education is when I came up through school, and probably when you do too, there were teachers who did things like learning centers and projects where you could pick which thing you wanted to do out of the list of 10, or there was a point of time where we were doing contracted grades. Okay, you can contract for an A, a B, or a C. There was a lot of choice when I was in school as a, let's say, middle school, then it was K-8, but K-8 to high school, and then even in college. I had the option of, in college, and I went right here to Rivier College in Nashua, I had the option of taking a test written or oral. And the professor, if we wanted it orally, would schedule it with us. And I think what's happened is, at least at the K-12 phase of learning, stage of learning, is with all the test frenzy and the we have to get the kids through the test, and we've got to do it this way and that way. We've got test scores up. Is teachers have a lot more dictated to them. They have a lot more of, you've got to teach this way. Using these methods. And it doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad ways, but they're not necessarily the ways that are going to reach all students.
Sure. And I agree with you. People freeze a test, but yet now they have the SAT test and all of these tests that they're putting on the students, and I'm watching it. And there are students out there that are doing great, and then there are other students out there that are just losing their hair over it because it's not fair. So wouldn't that be fabulous if they could have an oral test as well as a written test?
Or my favorite is a portfolio. Show me everything you can do and only have the test be a small piece of that. Because somebody, there are people who are just good test takers. I was never one of them.
Me either.
And then there are people who don't take a test well but could tell you anything and everything about a topic, possibly even know more about that topic than the person who did the A work on the test. And there are people who may not be able to write about what they know, but they could talk about it and tell you. Or they could, put it out in a flow chart or a diagram, and it could all make sense. So there's just so many different ways to get your knowledge out there, or to be able to learn or express your learning and use your talents, whether it's in school or in the work world. And so my mission is to help not only educators, which is the bulk of what I do, understand that and help to reach students so they all can be successful. But now I'm also taking that into industry and business, right down to entrepreneurs. I was just in Amsterdam, and I was working with a group of Amsterdam in Utrecht and teaching them how to write books without writing.
Hello.
Yep. The title was Take the Writing Out of Writing.
Wow.
Yep. And books and blogs and articles. How do you do that? Using speech to text. Now, whether you're using Cortana, on Microsoft, or whether you're using Google Voice, or whether you're using Siri, or whether you're using a real high quality program, which is my favorite because it is high end and I do a lot with Dragon Naturally Speaking.
I have Dragon. I like Dragon.
Do you use it?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do.
I'm really glad that you use it, because a lot of people start to use it and then they go, whoa, this isn't working for me. But it does take a little bit of a...
Well, it does, because you got to remember to turn it off when the phone rings.
I've had that happen.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
And then you go back to your computer and it's written down the whole...
Holy McGillicuddy!
I had that happen. Well, I just got a new Microsoft Surface Book, and I was using the speech to text, and I forgot that I had it on, and I went away, and then I was talking to somebody in my office, and then I looked back, and all this was written in an email that I was about to send. Boy, I said, am I glad I looked at that? Of course. But
of course.
At first I was a little baffled. how did all that text get on my screen?
I know.
And then I realized I had forgotten it. It's Microsoft's
very
built-in
simple.
speech-to-text
Yeah.
function. It wasn't even Dragon, which is what fooled me because I do
Right.
Dragon all the time.
Understood.
But yeah, I love it. And
I do too.
I've written over 14 books. Some of them aren't published yet because I use them
Sure.
as handbooks for
I like
seminars.
that. Oh, I love that.
But I have only written
Yeah.
2 of them.
That's fantastic.
I talk my first draft.
Right.
And I edit from there because I found that I will say so much more. I think better on my
Right.
feet that way. And I do it standing up. I can't
You
sit.
know, I am so glad you said that because that is the God's honest truth. Do not sit. Your energy is bending.
Yeah. I don't sit.
100%. Look at all of it. It's completely bending.
Yeah, I get really tired if I try to sit down to work.
Right.
So I have a standing station.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. And I think that the key is we have to honor that in ourselves.
You have to honor what works
and,
for
and
you.
I'll tell people, even in the workplace, they're not as focused. And I'll say,
Right.
try a standing station. I had someone say to me once, oh, well, that will never fly. We're in a very conservative, executive type of office, and they wouldn't ever allow me to do that. And I said, well, you might want to think about presenting that option to your, that idea to your boss, and possibly find a way to do it that's discreet,
Yeah.
because you will be more effective. And then when your boss realizes that you're not falling asleep or you're not getting up constantly or moving, or that they'll actually appreciate it. And now there's more and more workplaces that are doing standing stations.
Yeah, I had a gentleman on my show, and that's exactly what he does. Is he helps people recreate their workspace so it works.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
It
It's
is.
beautiful, where he sets up and exactly what you said, and companies have to make a happier environment.
And that's one of my goals
I
now. Is
like
to
that.
happier. If you're working in your comfort zone with respect to who you are as a human
Yeah.
being, with respect to how your body moves, how your energy level is, how you work, you're going to be a happier worker. If
Sure.
you're a happier worker, you're typically a more productive worker. You're more focused. You're more right
You're a better
there.
family person.
Everything.
Everything.
You're just better all the way
Yeah.
around.
So I love the fact that you get to go into corporations and shift. I love going into corporations and doing the shift.
Yes, it's wonderful.
It is. It's gratifying. When you go back to visit the corporation, or you just periodically, hear about them, you're like, oh my God, it's so different. I want to work there.
Yeah.
I have to go to work. No, I want to go there. I have to go to work.
It's a difference. It's a difference.
completely
and it makes
different.
such a mindset is
Yeah.
such a critical piece of being successful. Again, not only in the workplace,
Yes.
but in school, in life.
It's true.
It's mindset.
It's
so
true.
much to do with mindset.
Yeah, 100%. And coming from a dyslexic, it's 100% true.
And dyslexics, I'm sure you've listened to some of Richard Branson's
Oh my gosh,
They're
brilliant.
more creative. They're great problem solvers because they're out of the box thinkers.
That's right. Did you know Cher was also dyslexic?
Oh, yeah.
I bring that up a lot.
There's so many of our
So
greatest people, greatest
many.
musicians, creatives are dyslexic. I mean, my son's a design engineer. I'm blown away by what he does.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that people can do, this is a little pricey, but I think it was so worth it, is there's a research center in, they have several offices in the country, but
Yeah.
one of them is out of Boston called the Johnson O'Connor Research Center.
Okay.
I had both my children's aptitudes tested, evaluated.
Oh wow.
And then, so what they do is they do this at the time when my son did it, and did them both between their sophomore year and junior year,
Okay.
right? And so you might say, ooh, it was several $100s. I mean, maybe $600 when I did it. I think it's a little more now. But what you get out of it is unbiased, so it's not from a school
Sure.
system. But what you get out of it is, this is what you're really, really good at. This is what you need to do to be happy the rest of your life. If you
love
don't
that.
do these, and it tells you your talents. The thing that was really amazing to me with my daughter, we found out that she was talented in all kinds of things. They told her, you could be an interior designer with your talents. You've got an aptitude for languages. You can think in 3D. You can do this, and they could tell her what she's good at,
Right.
which was fabulous. With my son, they said he was a 3D thinker out of the box. He was off the chart. So he could actually see things in his mind and see how things work in 3D. And I thought, isn't that amazing? And they said you could be an architect, an engineer, or a surgeon. He ended up an engineer, a mechanical engineer. But what they also found from that is, and this was reassuring, is where you don't have the aptitude is in the ability to express yourself in language and in writing. It's what they called clerical. They said, so what's going to be challenging for you is school. If you can get through school, if you can do school, you can do these great things. So I think for us, it gave us the, okay, you have the brilliance to do this. We know you're that smart.
Right.
Don't let this get you down. Don't let it defeat you. Find other ways around it. And I think that's amazing. And they'll do this for anybody, for all age groups. They get a lot of...
You know what? You have to invest in yourself in every way possible. I cannot believe we are coming close to our time ending.
Oh, goodness.
I know. But I want to make sure that also people understand how to connect with you. Can you share with our audience how they can get in touch with you, Susan? Because I think that you're going to really make a difference in a lot of people's lives when they see this show.
Well, thank you. And I'm willing to help people in any way I can.
How can they get you?
Yeah. So I'm Susan Fitzell, and it should be on the screen. You'll be able to see it. And the best way to reach me is either to email me, and it's my initials, first initial, last name, sfitzell@susanfitzell.com. Or you can go to my website, and there's a web form there, Susan Fitzell, and pretty much if you Google Susan Fitzell, I'm all over the web. I can never hide.
Oh my God,
I'll never be able to hide.
Oh, you're so all over it, and your pictures are gorgeous. You know how when you Google and then you hit images and you're like, let me see her pictures, because I know that when I put together my special little pieces when you're going to be a guest on my show, thank you very much, I go to Google, I'm like, gorgeous, or on
thank
Facebook.
you.
So yes, you're very photogenic.
I had a fabulous photographer for my last set of professional photos. Do Something Different Media out of Manchester.
There you go.
Absolutely fabulous.
There you go.
Absolutely fabulous.
I like that.
Rhiannon is just amazing.
What is the name?
What she does, Rhiannon.
Rhiannon? Rhiannon. I like that. Okay, well, that's awesome. We never said that life was easy, but we did say you can be happier. And this is one product of dyslexia. And if I could do something about it, so can you. And with Susan, with all of your tips and all of your love and your encouraging words to let people know that we are not alone out there.
You're not alone.
How many do you think that you've touched? I know that it's been thousands, if not millions.
You know, that sounds crazy, but about 6 or 7 years ago, an organization that I work with continually over the past 15 years actually did the math, because I go do their seminars, and they were over 10,000.
And now millions of more, just because of the Happiness Jungle TV show. We never said life was easy. We did say you could be happy and go out there and live your dreams, and you take your life by control. Bye, everybody.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.